When most people picture a trip to Uzbekistan, they imagine a very specific, sun-drenched aesthetic. We expect massive, sand-colored arches and intricate turquoise mosaics that look exactly as they did centuries ago along the ancient Silk Road trading routes. Because of this massive historical footprint in cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, the country's capital, Tashkent, often gets a bad rap. For decades, travelers have treated it as a mandatory layover, a place to fly into, grab your bags, and immediately leave to find the historical sites. And if you only spent your daylight hours in Tashkent's old city, it's easy to see why that stereotype persists. You'll find spots like the Hazrat Imam complex, a sprawling religious center built around the tomb of an early Islamic scholar, anchoring the city firmly in its deep, dusty past. Walk a little further, and you hit the Chorsu Bazaar. This is a massive, traditional farmers market operating under a giant tiled dome, where locals have traded spices and produce for generations. It perfectly matches the rugged, historical vibe most visitors are chasing. But judging Tashkent strictly by its daytime ruins is a mistake. The second the sun sets and the intense Central Asian heat breaks, the city reveals a completely different, highly engineered identity. As twilight hits, the visual temperature of the city drops. The sand-colored bricks fade out, and a sharp, modern skyline begins to illuminate the horizon. To actually cross from the old world into the new, you drop below ground into the Tashkent metro, specifically riding through stations like Ali-Sher Nawai, named after the famous 15th century poet, but built with the sweeping geometric precision of a mid-century transit hub. When you step out of the station doors, you are met with Tashkent City Park. This is a massive, highly curated expanse of walking paths, imported greenery, and modern glass architecture, right in the center of the capital. It serves as an immediate climate-controlled retreat from the region's notoriously harsh weather. Inside, you can find the Fly Tashkent Theater, a suspended-seat flight simulator that physically lifts audiences up to simulate soaring over the country's geography. Right next door, a dedicated planetarium utilizes high-resolution wrap-around projection mapping to create deep space visual experiences, completely detached from the historical ruins outside. Building these specific, high-end indoor entertainment spaces shows exactly what the local planners are doing. They are actively engineering a modern, international-tier urban environment from the ground up. Out in the cool night air, the park reveals its actual layout. Wide, meticulously paved symmetrical pathways cut through rows of weeping willows and highly maintained gardens. The space is designed specifically to draw crowds and create photo moments. It even houses the country's first international-grade wax museum, marked outside by a towering, intricately lit architectural tree that glows against the dark sky. Following those glowing paths eventually leads you to the edge of a massive artificial lake. The shoreline here is lined with open-air cafes and restaurants serving global cuisine, creating an upscale, relaxed dining environment that feels entirely removed from a traditional bazaar. If you look across that water, you get the definitive view of the new capital. A wall of freshly constructed steel and glass high-rises stands directly over the park, their bright neon profiles bouncing perfectly off the calm surface of the lake. Water, neon, and glass. When you stand in front of that skyline, the idea that Uzbekistan is strictly a dusty, ancient desert entirely falls apart. But the actual centerpiece of the park, the thing that draws thousands of locals every single night, doesn't start until it is completely dark. It is a massive, 200-meter-long fountain array engineered right into the center of the lake. Once activated, it delivers a highly synchronized, kinetic water show. Dozens of high-pressure jets blast columns of water into the air, perfectly timed to a sweeping musical score, and cut through by intense, multicolored laser projections. And what makes this display particularly striking is the context of where it sits. You can watch these glowing water columns erupt right in the shadow of legacy Soviet-era monuments and the heavy, brutalist facade of the old Hotel Uzbekistan in the distance. Watching these high-pressure jets blast into the air against the dark, brutalist hotel towers makes the desert relic stereotype feel like a miscalculation. Tashkent is actively constructing a high-tech layer right on top of its Soviet and Silk Road foundations. You are effectively looking at two entirely different cities occupying the same physical space. By day, you navigate the sunlit, ancient domes of the deep past. By night, you walk through the glowing, geometric white pavilions of the 21st century. Tashkent City Park serves a highly specific purpose beyond local entertainment. It is a concrete, undeniable statement of the capital's successful integration into the modern, globalized economy. Visiting Uzbekistan now requires a shift in perspective. If you only document the turquoise tiles of the 1400s and skip the LED-lit skyline of today, you're missing half of the city's current story. The contrast is as much a part of the destination as the history. That means the capital's role on the itinerary has to change. Instead of treating it as a frustrating starting line to rush away from, travelers need to view it as the climax of their journey. By pairing the deep history of the old city with the synchronized lights of the city park, Tashkent has finalized its modern metamorphosis. It is no longer a city defined strictly by its ancient past, but by the high-tech landscape it is building for the future.